How's it going all? The power of mantras. Right, we're just gonna wait for people to join us. Thank you very much for joining in. Hola. Right, I'm just going to wait for others to join in. So today I'm going to talk about the power of mantras. So I often talk about the power of music, power of sound. Hello, hello. Thank you very much for joining in. Just got to wait for some more people to join us. Patra 2525, Tina Tam Tam, Cosmic Chrissy, thank you very much for joining in. Into the rabbit hole we go. Oh. Pete Carr, Cosmic Chrissy, Zen Girl 22, thank you very much for joining in. Total Life 24, thank you very much for joining in. Zen Girl, hello California. Chris Delenia 25, thank you very much for joining in. Right, how's everyone doing? Hope you're all well. Having a good week. Just listening to Karunesh. Awake, you're great. How's it going, brother? Thank you very much for joining in. Whilst we just wait, just to listen to some vibes of Karunesh, Calling Wisdom, this one. Much love, much love. Yes, I'm in the UK, Cosmic Chrissy. In the UK. Some people think I sound Australian, but I've just got a messed up accent. Southeast England, London. Well, I'm born and raised in London, but I live in Kent, which is the Garden of England, full of countryside, which is what I love, nature. Music, love, and nature is my thing. 3 things that will heal your soul: music, love, and nature. The recipe for higher consciousness. Folkestone, not far. Folkestone is my favourite place to go. The beach is lovely there. They've done it really nice. It's come a long way, Folkestone. It's a great place to vibe. They have some good events there as well. It's awesome. Another Londoner in the house. Thank you very much for joining in. Jay Jarrett, thank you very much for joining in. I'm always in and out of London. I used to live, in London when I was at university. But, yeah, same here. My house is a temple too, man. It has to be. I've got my shrine here. This is, you don't need to go anywhere. How's it going? Salona Singh, thank you very much for joining in. Sophie, how's it going? Much love, much love. Sorry, since I upgraded my phone, I've been having a bit of an issue with audio and it's a bit glitchy at times. So I do apologize for that if any issues with the sound and video sync, because I can see a little bit of a delay. I've been trying to sort it out, but I've not been able to figure it out since I've upgraded my phone. Hey Gary, how's it going? Brahim, Rajput warrior, excellent. Oh, excellent. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, because I sometimes watch back the recordings and they're well out of sync. Well, they have been the last 2 or 3 times I've done one. Good day from Vegas. What's been happening in Vegas that you can tell us about that we shouldn't know about, Gary? Good day, good day. All right. So we got a few people here. So I think we will make a start. So I want to talk about mantras, right? Well, firstly, you know, I always say that everything, I'm a big believer in that everything began with what they say, you know, they say the word, right? Everything began with a word. Word is a sound, okay? And then, so in the Bible it says in the beginning there was a word, and then it was said, let there be light, right? So basically the word created light, or well, the way I like to look at it is sound creates light. Okay, and if you have a look at it, actually there's a lot of science to back this up. Now there's lots and lots of documentaries and stuff. There's awesome documentaries on sound on Gaia. If you have a Gaia subscription, about the only thing I watch on the box, on the television screen, is a Gaia subscription. I watch documentaries. So if anything, I often speak about do nothing, then do everything, which is the Taoist way. The Taoist way, when I mean do nothing, I mean do nothing, like literally let go. Like we say, like we try not to think, right? And this is where people find it difficult, because when I say, like, this is conscious thinking, like conscious thoughts, like you make conscious choices and decisions. There's conscious thoughts and there's unconscious thoughts. So there's unconscious thoughts which are just happening a lot of the time, and you do not feel like you're in control of those, but you do hear them. Okay, and this is another thing where we say when we think about thoughts, we don't really see thoughts. We do see images and things, you know, because thoughts, well, there's a programming language. In neuro-linguistic programming, there's a programming language to all thoughts and everything in the mind. And the programming language is visuals, auditory, so visual. So we don't only see outside, we see inside. We don't only hear outside, we hear inside. Interestingly enough, the first organ in the human embryo that actually comes alive is the inner ear. It's the inner ear. Okay? If you're not too familiar with that, I don't want to speak about that subject specifically, but there's the inner ear in the human embryo. The first thing, the first organ is actually the inner ear. Okay? So when there's a thing in India, when we say to meditate, there's another way of looking at it. When we say meditate is to observe or to listen, okay? Because some people get a bit confused with what meditation is. It's becoming the witness, the observer, becoming engrossed in that presence, okay? Not present moment, but the presence. There's a presence within, which is your true nature, a presence within, right? Now, that presence within, you know, people call it I am, God, okay, whatever, higher self, okay? These are all just labels, mental constructs, so it doesn't really matter what you call it. But words and mantras are very, very powerful things. Like, we now have, in the new age, we have a lot of audio technologies, solfeggio frequency, sound technologies, binaural beats, right? Isochronic technologies, these are audio technologies which send different frequencies to one ear and the other, and then your brain makes out the difference between the difference in the frequencies, and it creates a brainwave frequency. And this is how brainwaves are induced. Brainwave frequencies are induced. So alpha, theta states, which are states of meditation. So alpha, sort of light meditation, relaxed state, and then theta, trance-like deep meditation, delta, deep, rapid eye movement sleep. And then you've got gamma, which is very, very high frequency peak performance, like flow state as well. Okay, which is actually like 27 cycles per second and higher. But normal waking state is 12 to around 25 cycles per second. Okay, let's just say, okay, the number's always a little bit of a disagreement, but let's just say 12 to around 24, 25 cycles per second, beta, 8 to 12 cycles is alpha, 4 to 8 is theta, and 1 to 4 is delta. Okay, gamma is anything like over 25 hertz, going like into even 100 hertz per second. So gamma is peak performance state, which actually my camo breathwork framework actually induces. So gamma. So actually different forms of ancient wisdom have practiced different forms. Like Zen meditation is typically alpha meditation, right? Alpha going in towards theta. And then Buddhist meditation, like the Buddhist monks, they used to practice more gamma meditation, especially to the Tibetan bowls. So I use a combination because it depends on what you want. So alpha, theta brainwave frequencies, more relaxed state, right? If you want to increase your level of energy and you don't want to be relaxed, then you would use gamma brainwave frequencies, for example. So if you're working and you want to get in the zone whilst you're actually doing activities, then gamma brainwave frequencies. Okay, if you want to get into a more of a relaxed, which you can also get into the zone in alpha as well. Okay, so alpha is sometimes people get in this state where and it seems like time slows down. So I often say, I've done a video the other day, right? A tip for slowing down time. So I often say like the perception, time is, remember, it's just a perceptual thing, right? So time, really, there is no time. In the illusion here, in Maya, in this physical world, we have the illusion of time and the illusion of physical reality, right? So within the illusion, we have time, perception of time. So because it's a perceptual thing, it can be changed. So this is why sometimes it seems like days go quicker and sometimes days go slower. Now, typically, if you're involved in lots of activities which are keeping you in beta brainwave frequency, time's going to go quicker. Okay? As you get more relaxed, alpha theta state, time typically will seem like it slows down. So when I say do nothing, like the Taoist way, like if you watch my stories, you'll often see me just chilling out, relaxing in my garden or going for a walk in nature. So I surround myself with nature. So either in my garden, I live in very close to the countryside, so I can just walk out and be in the countryside, or I can just go out in my garden. So surrounding myself with nature. So whether that's animals, plants, flowers, trees, oceans, lakes, anything that's alive, living nature. It has a higher vibrational frequency than for example, a skyscraper or a physical solid building. Okay, if you're stuck in buildings all the time, they're vibrating at a lower level. So everything is vibration and frequency. So when we surround ourselves with higher vibrational environments, we start to vibe higher, and as we vibe higher, time starts to slow down. So this is where perception of time slows down. So my time, it seems like it goes a lot slower the more I keep practicing. And each day seems like it lasts longer. So everyone has 24 hours in a day, but your perception of how those 24 hours play out can be altered. And that's how a lot of people do think I do a lot of things, right? I trade, stock markets, got stuff going on cloud technologies. I write books. I do this stuff on Instagram. I'm a therapist. I'm a coach, right? I'm a martial artist, DJ. I just do lots of things because when you slow down time, when you do go into doing everything, so there's do nothing, you completely let go, let go, let go. When you do everything, you have so much energy, you get stuff done quicker. You get stuff done quicker. So my book, only took me like 3 weeks to write, 2-3 weeks to write. Okay, I was in a higher consciousness state, right? So you can get a lot done in less time if you practice this. So that's the Taoist way. The way, the Tao, or the Tao, T-A-O, the Tao, pronounced Tao. The Tao is the way of the universe. It's a natural flow of the universe. So think of the universal flow as the ocean. It has a rhythm, and there are waves within the ocean. Now in life is the ocean. Now in that ocean, life, there's going to be waves. Now if we don't get in flow with the ocean, we will sometimes feel like we're swimming upstream, or we're not riding the waves. We're just missing them. So when you get in flow, you start riding the waves. And life just becomes this cosmic dance. It is. It's just a symphony. It's a dance. It's all playing out very nicely. Because if you watch nature, it's beautiful. It's very natural. Even you. It's all pure beauty. Since the day you was born. Like your body's alive. It's keeping itself alive without conscious effort. So the divine is in you. Like it's all beauty. It's just if you get caught up with the nonsense, you miss it. So what happens is when your unconscious mind is processing 4.3 to 20 million bits of information per second, your conscious mind is only processing 128 to 300 bits of information per second. So your conscious thoughts are like choices and decisions I make. Like now, I can make conscious choices, decisions. I can write things down, make plans. That's conscious thinking. Okay, now there's unconscious thoughts. So when you go into meditation, you're left with a lot of unconscious thoughts. So you're not trying to think, but there's still thoughts. So what are those? Those are the unconscious thoughts. Now, you can't really change those. And most of the time, it's quite frustrating because you can't really even stop them. So now you'll find when you meditate, you'll get glimpses. And when you go into really deep meditation, like you meditate long enough, like especially with audio technology, 20, 30 minutes into it, you'll probably notice that your mind is completely quiet. You're sort of nearly asleep, but you're not. So that's where you want to stay. But it takes practice. It takes practice, and this is why it really helps to progress slowly when you get into start with just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then progress. Okay, then do deeper meditations later because it takes practice. Because initially, I remember when I first started doing deep meditations, going into theta, sometimes I used to feel like I'm falling asleep, right? And you just you're in and out of consciousness in a way. But that's what a trance-like state is. That is what theta is. You're semi-conscious. That's where hypnotherapists will take you. When I do certain therapy as well, I need to get a client into theta state. So that gives you access to the deep level of the subconscious, the unconscious mind, right? So what we have is my cat's out at the door. Probably wants to get in. So basically, what we find is that these unconscious thoughts, they seem to be out of control at times. Okay. Now, when we witness and observe these, as I said, when you go into meditation, you will have glimpses, typically quiet, peaceful moments. Now, however, unless you're really, really, really seasoned practitioner in meditation, you'll typically find, now some of you might be very, 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 very well versed in meditation, because meditation is a practice. Like it takes practice, just like you go to the gym, it's a workout, and the more you do it consistently, the better you get at it. Remember, you can't do meditation wrong. People say I can't meditate. You can't meditate wrong. You can't do qigong wrong. You can't do breath work wrong. You just got to do it, and you got to keep doing it until you get better at it. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, got something in my mouth, right? So you just got to, helps when there's nothing in your mouth. So you just got to make sure that you keep reminding yourself that these unconscious thoughts are going to be there. Okay? These unconscious thoughts are going to be there, and you don't need to control them. So instead, what you do, okay, because if you try to stop what's happening unconsciously, you'll only stop it temporarily. Because they're unconscious patterns. They're unconscious patterns. Right? Everything is a pattern. So, in the beginning there was a sound, right? The primordial sound, often everyone knows, is often referred to as Om, right? Om is a vibrational sound. So this is like the first mantra I want to touch on. Okay? It's a vibrational sound, okay? Now, you can look into it and think all you like about Om. Okay, I'm not really going to talk too much about beliefs about these, because there's lots of different versions and ideas of what Om means, etc. And some of the other things I want to talk about. But I'm just going to share what I believe. That's all I ever can do, right? So Om is seen as a primordial sound, right? So in the beginning there was a sound. So Om, as I said, in the beginning there was a sound, and then there's vibration, and sound and vibration also creates light. Okay, so in the beginning there was a word, and then let there be light, right? So sound creates light. That's another way to look at it. Sound creates vibration and light, right? So when you do, I often bring my Tibetan bowl up here. I haven't got it with me today. It's upstairs. But, a Tibetan bowl, you hit it, right? And it vibrates, and the sound keeps going. Okay? The sound keeps going. So that one action, like you hit it, and then you have to take that little thing and put it around the edge of the bowl, and it makes the sound. And the sound keeps going as long as you keep the movement going, right? So you don't have to hit it again. Now, the didgeridoo is another thing, right? The Aborigines used. The Aborigines, now the didgeridoo, it actually only creates one note, but that one note becomes many. So that's the whole thing with sound. That one sound becomes many. That one sound becomes many. Right? So one sound creates many sounds, or one thing creates many things, is another way of putting it. Because the sound creates the vibration and the frequencies. So, when we talk about mantras, well, firstly, what mantras do, very simply, it gives you something to replace your thoughts with. So when we have these unconscious thoughts taking place, which we feel like we can't control, so when you just try to sit in silence, it's very difficult. So this is why I always say, and I found personally myself, and this might be just because I was a DJ from the age of 14 and I love sound and music, but so it may not be for everyone, and everything is not for everyone, because everyone has different flavor, slightly different vibe, and one thing fits someone else, and it doesn't fit, and it fits someone else, and it doesn't fit anybody else. Okay, so it's each to their own, really. So you've got to decide what works for you. So I'm going to talk about a few mantras today, which I actually use. So as a DJ, I'm a remixer. So I've often I'm very open to learning from all different sources. So I've been open to learning from different religions, all different types of any wisdom, knowledge, wisdom. I just see it as information. I can always pick and choose what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. If I don't always agree with everything. Okay, so I've learned from all sorts of religions, right? Hinduism, Sikhism. I'm born into Sikhism, so my mother's very religious. So I'll speak a little bit about that, because Sikhism is actually, to me, it wasn't actually meant to be a religion, because even Guru Nanak, the creator, the founder of Sikhism, it's quite a new religion, okay? It became, but I still believe it's a religion that wasn't meant to be a religion, because it was a religion that was created to really say, look, you don't need religions. Like, because the beginning of the Guru Granth Sahib is Ekonkar, Satanam, which is, there is only one creator, but he has many names, okay? And Waheguru is the name for God or the divine, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now these are just doesn't matter what word you use. So I'm born into Sikhism, so it means something to me. So I'm going to explain it. So Wahe means wow or wondrous. Guru is teacher or enlightener. So it means wondrous enlightener. So the way Sikhism looks at it is there is an enlightener. There's a source of enlightenment. They don't call it God or anything. It's just a source of enlightenment. Right? It's a source of enlightenment, and you can connect with it whilst you're alive to gain enlightenment. That's all it is. Okay, so there's a number of different mantras I want to talk about. So firstly, there's Om, okay, which is one that many people know about. Okay, there's the Waheguru mantra or Waheguru simran I'm going to talk about, which is just repeating the name. Okay, so for me, Waheguru means something, so it's just repeating the name of God. So this is a devotional practice. So it's devoting to God or the divine. Okay. The other one I want to talk about is the Gayatri Mantra. And I'm also going to talk about Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, which basically means I bow down to Shiva or bow down to the Creator. And I'm also going to talk about Om Mani Padme Hum. Okay, which means praise the jewel in the lotus, which is from Buddhism. So 3 different backgrounds, whatever you want to call them, right? Religions. Okay, I prefer to say backgrounds. Okay, so I have used and I continue to use these mantras. And one of the reasons I use different mantras from different backgrounds is because I respect them all. Firstly, it's a respect and love for everything and unity, right? So, spare me a sec. What are you doing now? So as my cat. So we've got different mantras I want to speak about. Okay, but the purpose of a mantra is you have something to focus on repeating to replace your unconscious thoughts. Right? Sorry about that. Cat disturbing my live. Garfield. If you watch my stories, he's been killing slow worms in my garden, which are basically like little reptiles or lizards. Lizards without legs. Look like snakes in my garden. We have them in the UK. All right, so mantras. So mantra is basically something that you repeat, something you say. Now it can be said out loud or it can be said internally. So internal dialogue, okay, we all have internal dialogue. Okay, I was speaking about NLP earlier, the programming language of the mind. Okay, sorry, I got taken away from that. So there's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, which is feeling inside, okay? And there's auditory digital, which is internal dialogue. So that's the programming language of the mind. So we see stuff in our mind. Okay, so we have a thought, we have a past experience, we bring it to mind, we will see an image or a little movie will play. Even habits, like I used to smoke cigarettes, okay, well, now I vape, okay, but if you think about a habit, like you don't notice it happening, but on an unconscious level, what happens is you actually see what you're going to do before you do it. You always see or visualize what you're going to do before you do it. So every habit, you actually see yourself doing it before you do it. It's very quick, but when you become more aware of what's happening on an unconscious level, you do notice it. So as an NLP practitioner, I take a lot of clients through past life experiences or experiences in this life and talk about past experiences and the details that they saw and experienced within the mind. Okay, what did they hear? What did they see? What did they feel? What were they saying to themselves? So these are things that happen in your mind. So your unconscious mind has a programming language. It sees things. Now, it might be just a little picture that shows up. It might be a movie clip. You might say something to yourself. You might feel something, but it's internal. So there's an internal programming language is what I'm getting at. So what you need to do to break your patterns. So we are habitual beings. So everything we do, like habits, we're talking about there's bad habits and there's good habits. So I turned around a lot of my bad habits and I turned them into good habits. Okay, gave up alcohol, cigarettes, and bad habits. Lots of other bad habits probably too. Okay, gave up eating meat, stuff like that, right? So I basically, now I'm not trying to say those are bad for everyone else. These are what I consider bad habits for me, right? So, everyone can do what you like. I'm not here to tell anyone what you need to do and what you shouldn't do and what you should and what you shouldn't be doing. I'm not here to do that. That's the whole point. You should all be in control of your lives, right? No one should be telling you what to do. Even on my lives, man, just question everything. Just take it in, and it's information. You don't have to take it all. Just take what you want and take what resonates. So there's a programming language. So we need to break those habits. So there's unconscious habits, but there's habits we have which we do stuff here, right? Okay, bad habits. But there's also habits in terms of the way we think. It's habitual. So the way we're thinking can be positive or negative. And a lot of the time when we feel like we cannot think positive, because it's not like people don't know that you should be thinking positive. Everyone knows that, right? The difficulty is in actually thinking positive. Not knowing that you should think positive. Everyone's always think positive, be positive, be positive. But the frustrating thing for many is how do you actually do it? Because for many, what's happened is the unconscious mind has got used to running those habits, those ways of thinking. So they're patterns, they're unconscious patterns, and they're automatically playing just like little programs. Okay, so something triggers it and then the program plays. Just like, you want to open up Microsoft Word on your computer or Outlook or whatever it is, or open up Google web browser. You click it and it opens, right? The trigger is, I want to search the internet. What happens? You click Google, pop, it opens up. Now what happens is you'll have a trigger externally and your unconscious mind is going to think, okay, well, I know how to deal with this, and it's just going to play the program. Okay, now, if you don't interrupt those programs or find ways of replacing what's already there, they're just going to keep playing out. So there are a few ways you can start replacing what's there. Firstly, keep filling your mind with more positive information, of course, right? Stay away from that negative information. So the less you're bringing it in, the more likely you are to stay in alignment with the positive mindset. Okay, so if you keep bringing shit in, it's more difficult. So that's why I cut myself off from a lot. Okay, just a lot of nonsense in general, because there's a lot of nonsense out there. There's information that can take you away from your truth, right? You don't need a lot of external information. Most of the information you need less information just to understand it better. In my opinion, that's what I believe, and that's what I continue to do. So we've got to break these patterns, and the best way to break a pattern, okay, so most of what we're doing when we're thinking, unconscious thinking, is internal dialogue, meaning we're talking to ourselves. We have an internal dialogue and we're talking to ourselves. So that, a lot of the time, you're saying stuff to yourself internally, automatically and unconsciously, that you don't like. You don't like it. So what the mantra does is it breaks the pattern. Because you will automatically keep having that thought. Now, after a while, it drops off. You witness and observe it. In meditation, those thoughts start to drop off. They come and go. They come and go. Like, comes in one door, goes out the other. Comes in through the front door, goes out the back door. Right? As long as you let it go. But if you keep focusing on it, this is going to stay there. It's difficult, however, to just stop thinking for many people. You can consciously stop thinking, but then the unconscious thoughts are still there. Okay? Now, for the most part, you're going to keep hearing them. As I said, as far as I believe, right? Everything is sound. Everything is sound. That's why you hear your thoughts. Right? When you think about what you witness, when you listen, when you're in your mind and you're experiencing thoughts, what is it? You're hearing it. You're hearing yourself say something. And if you don't like what you're hearing, you've got to change the fucking channel. It's a radio station. If you keep tuning into that radio station with a shit song, you've got to change the fucking channel. So the mantra changes the channel. That's it. The mantra changes the channel. There's many mantras. You don't have to use the ones that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to just share the ones that I know and I use. Okay, and I'll explain what they mean and why I use them. Okay, so I've already explained the first one, which is Waheguru. Okay, because I'm born into Sikhism. My mum is very religious. My mum brought up 3 kids. My dad died when I was 7 years old. Okay, he was 32 years old. Had motor neuron disease. And my mum brought up 3 kids. And the thing that got her through was her faith. Her faith in the divine. In God. Right? So she has brought me up as a massive believer in God and the divine. So that's why I have my faith. Okay? Now, I explored, of course, and looked into Buddhism, Hinduism. So I wanted to know what else is out there, not just Sikhism. So I looked into Christianity, Islam, and I read much of the Bible, the Quran, the Guru Granth Sahib, the Bhagavad Gita, right? Buddhist texts. So I'm just an open book, okay? Many more, okay? Those are just some of the things that I've looked into. But I'm a practitioner, so I have to get something to do. I don't just like to learn. I have to do stuff. So mantras are something that I can do. I don't care, because that's why I'm sharing I'm sharing something here from Sikhism, something from Hinduism, and something from Buddhism. Okay, hopefully something there resonates with you. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. A mantra doesn't even have to be these. Okay, I've shared mantras before, which are just, they're not from any religion or any historical background in that sense. I've made one up myself, okay, but other people have shared it before, okay, which is, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. I am not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. That is also a mantra. That is a mantra. So that if you don't, you don't have to use other mantras that I'm going to talk about, okay? Just want to keep it simple. One that I've shared before many times on my lives. I am not the body, I'm not the mind. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. Doesn't matter which way you say it. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. It doesn't matter how you say it. As long as you say it and you keep repeating it. Okay, so if you're having thoughts that you don't like, and they keep popping up and you feel like you can't control them, don't try to control them. Pick up the mantra and start repeating the mantra. And the great thing about mantra is you don't have to say it out loud. You can say it internally. You can say it anywhere. And it's very simple and it's very, very profound. And it's very, very effective. So first mantra I'm going to share is, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. Or I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. 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 And you just keep saying that until you feel like you've interrupted the patterns. So you can try to sit there in meditation and observe, and you'll hear the thoughts. But most likely, you're going to have little glimpses of not having the experience of hearing those thoughts, and then they're going to pop up, or some other thoughts are going to pop up. So when you repeat a mantra, the thoughts won't pop up. Because if I'm saying I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, or I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, my mind and my internal dialogue is now occupied with the mantra. So I've taken control. And that's what it's all about. It's about taking control. It's about taking fucking control. A mantra gives you back your fucking control. It's as simple as that. A mantra gives you back your control. So, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. Very simple one. Now, Waheguru. So, that is the first mantra. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. Or I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. You can look at yourself in the mirror and say that. You can say it out loud. Sometimes I like to really say it. If I'm really struggling with thoughts and I don't like, I'll do it. I'll say it out loud. I'll look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. And I'll even beat myself in the chest. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. And then it becomes more like an anchor. An anchor is an NLP technique, neuro-linguistic programming technique. As a master NLP practitioner, I do NLP as well. So when you turn it into an anchor, you embody it. So you can turn any mantra into an anchor. So I've used like a combination of mantras and NLP and put it all together. So I'm a DJ, as I said, so I mix shit up. I'm a remixer, right? So I use mantras from Sikhism, Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever fucking works, right? So whatever works for you, do it. So I use whatever I need, whatever works, okay? But if you want something simple and you're not used to mantras, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, that's it. Simple as that. Now, Waheguru, as I said, my mum, through that hardship, she really taught me the importance of just repeating the name Waheguru. And in Sikhism, Waheguru simran means repeating the name of God, okay, or the divine, right? So in Sikhism, Waheguru means wondrous enlightener, the source of enlightenment. Waheguru. So I will just repeat Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Now, if I don't want to say it out loud, I'll just say it in my mind. So usually what's happening is most of your unconscious thoughts, or the thoughts you don't want to hear, are happening internally. So your internal dialogue is creating those thoughts, internal dialogue. So when you take control of the internal dialogue and turn it into a mantra, so I turn whatever's happening in my mind, I don't like it, change the fucking channel. It's just a radio channel. It's just a frequency I've tuned into I don't like. Everything is just sound frequencies. So if I don't like that station, I change the fucking station. So I don't like, oh, you're shit at this. Okay? Remember last time when this happened, you fucked up, right? I don't like hearing that, okay? So I don't want to listen to that radio station, so what do? Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. I'd rather hear wondrous enlightener, wondrous enlightener, wondrous enlightener, right? So that's another mantra. So it's called Waheguru Simran. Now, these don't have to be the ones you use. As I said, these are examples, okay? Now, there's a Mool Mantra, okay, which is actually the opening text of the Guru Granth Sahib. The opening text of the Guru Granth Sahib is Ek Omkar Satnam Karta Purk Nabod Nived Kal Murt Juni Se Bang Gur Prasad Japad Sach Jagad Sach Hebi Sach Nanak Hosi Bi Sach. Right? I'm much more than a beautiful face. Right? So when people realize that I actually know my mantras, they're like, wow, you really do know your shit. Okay. Ek Omkar Satnam Karta Purk Nabod Nived Kal Murt Juni Se Bang Gur Prasad Japad Sach Jagad Sach Hebi Sach Nanak Hosi Bi Sach. Now what does that mean? Ek Omkar means there is only one God. Okay, this is why I said Sikhism was actually a religion that, because Guru Nanak was actually born into Hinduism, and in Hinduism there's a lot of rituals and stuff, and Sikhism is like, okay, you don't need all these rituals, you just need to devote to the divine enlightener. That the God is the enlightener. He will teach you. You just need to devote and give yourself, surrender yourself to Waheguru by just repeating the name, and he will fill you with the knowledge and the wisdom that you need. So Ek Onkar means there is only one God. Satanam, truth is his name. Karta Purkh, he is the creator. Nirbhau Nirbhay, he is without fear. He is without hate. He is immortal, without form. Okay, that's a Kal Murat. Ajuni, he is beyond birth and death. Sebang, he is self-illuminated. Gur Prasad, he is realized by the kindness of the true Guru. So that's what it means. So that's a mantra, but I know the mantra. Now I'm reading the translation, but that's what it means. Now if you understand and resonate with actually what it means, and you're repeating that, you're repeating these words basically. There is only one God, truth is his name, he is a creator, he is without fear, he is without hate, he is immortal, without form, he is beyond birth and death, he is self-illuminated, he is realized by the kindness of the true Guru. That is what Ek Onkar Saptanam Karta Purkh Nirvana Nirbhay Kal Murat Juni Sebang Gur Prasad Ba Sach Ga Sach He Bi Sach Nam Kosi Bi Sach means. Right? So I repeat that. Okay, something that I was taught as a kid. So that was the first mantra I learnt when I was like 6 years old. So that's how I know it well, because I learnt it when I was like 6 years old. So, and that is a mantra that I repeat whenever I feel necessary. Now I've learnt more mantras, okay? So now there's you don't have to even say them out. Sometimes you can just listen to the mantra as well. Okay, so there's actually there's a YouTube version here of the Mool Mantra. Really, really powerful. Okay, now this will give you a bit of a vibe, man. A vibe for the Mool Mantra on a different level. Because it's going to be... So this live is probably going to go on a little while, actually. Because I'm still going to cover the Gayatri Mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, and Om Mani Padme Hum as well yet. So, this is a cosmic Mool Mantra. We'll just listen to a bit of this one. Right? So that's the audio version of it. Okay? So you can listen to it, but the whole point of a mantra is to take control of your internal dialogue, the throat chakra. Because you notice that when you have internal dialogue, when you talk out, you use your throat chakra. But when you have internal dialogue, you still use your throat chakra. That's where the sound comes from. Right? So you want to practice engaging the throat chakra so that you're regaining control, so that it's not talking nonsense. Remember, we've got to take control of the radio station you're tuned into. So if you're tuned into the radio channel which is talking nonsense, which is your mind talking bullshit, then you want to replace that. That's what the mantra does. Okay, so the Gayatri Mantra, really, really powerful. Okay, Gayatri Mantra is something that I've been using probably about 15 years now. Okay, so the Mool Mantra, I was taught it when I was 6 years old. Okay, but the Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhurva Svaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Deo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurva Svaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Deo Yona Prachodayat. So I know that one off my head as well, because I practice these. As I said, you don't just learn it. You got to be practitioners. So I practice saying this stuff. That's what a mantra is. You've got to say it out loud or internally to replace the bullshit thoughts. So if you don't like what you're hearing, you've got to replace it with something. This is why the mantras are so fucking powerful. If you're not using any mantra, I mean, at least use I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. Right? Now, Gayatri Mantra is very, very powerful. Now, the meaning of this is what I've just said. Om Bhurva Svaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Deo Yona Prachodayat. Okay, now there's a simple version of it, which is, O Divine Mother, our hearts are filled with darkness. Please make this darkness distant from us and promote illumination within us. Okay, or the one I prefer, O thou existence, absolute creator of the three dimensions, we contemplate upon thy divine light. May he stimulate our intellect and bestow upon us true knowledge. Very, very fucking powerful. Right? So would you rather listen to bullshit thoughts telling you you're fucking shit, this is going to happen tomorrow, creating fear and doubt in your mind? Or would you rather hear, O thou existence, absolute creator of three dimensions, we contemplate upon thy divine light. May he stimulate our intellect and bestow upon us true knowledge. So Om Bhurva Svaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Deo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurva Svaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Deo Yona Prachodayat. You don't even have to say it that many times. I often only need to say that like 5 to 10 times. I've broken the bad shit habits. I've broken the habitual thinking that I didn't like. The unconscious thoughts. Right? And this is why people struggle, because most people don't even know there's conscious and unconscious thoughts. You can stop your conscious thoughts very easily. Just don't fucking consciously think about anything. It's your unconscious thoughts that remain that cause the problem. Right? And that's why you need the mantras. This is why you need audio technology. Even when you use audio technology, it replaces, because this is why sound and music is so powerful, because it replaces what you're listening to. In the beginning, there was a word. In the beginning, there was a fucking sound. And that sound created the Big Bang, and the Big Bang created light and vibration that continued throughout and echoed throughout eternity. And it continues to echo throughout eternity. Right? There's the ocean. It creates the waves. We are the waves. Right? Think of God as the divine orchestrator. We are all instruments. We are all instruments, and we are a part of that orchestra. Meaning we can actually play our own songs in flow with the divine song. There's a cosmic dance taking place, which is very natural. It's why you wake up, go to sleep every day whilst you're alive. You're breathing unconsciously, quite naturally, and it's keeping you alive. You're asleep at night. You don't have a worry in the world about staying alive, because your unconscious mind controls everything. Your blood pumping through your veins, your heart pumping, everything. And you wake up magically every morning alive. Why? Because the divine is fucking in control, right? The way of the universe, the Tao, that's the universal way. It's already happening. All we got to do is get out the way. And when we keep getting caught up with these unconscious thoughts, these negative thoughts, we keep tuning into the radio station we don't even like listening to, right? We're not taking control. That is, we're accepting suffering. When we continue to do that, we're accepting suffering. And you don't need to. You don't need to accept suffering. You can surrender your suffering by letting go. Just let go. Let go. Let go of what is happening there. It's automatic. Don't try to stop it. Don't try to control it. Replace it. When you keep replacing that, all of that just starts to get quieter. All of that nonsense starts to get quieter. Now, when I repeat Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru continuously, the Guru Nanak, when he gained enlightenment, he repeated Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru until what was left was just Waheguru. That was all that consumed his mind. The name of God. Right? So that's what I try to do. I will keep repeating Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru until I've regained control. So for me, that's like the go-to mantra. Okay? But whatever works for you, as I said, you can just use I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. As long as you're replacing your shit thoughts. That's the most important thing. Get those shit thoughts replaced. Because they're going to keep happening because it's unconscious. They're unconscious patterns. You can't stop them. You've got to replace them. That's how reprogramming works. You replace what you don't like. Like, I used to be an addict. Cocaine addict. I gave up cocaine addiction and became addicted to breath work, meditation, qigong. Nothing wrong with being an addict as long as you're addicted to good things. So I get addicted to mantras, I get addicted to breath work, I get addicted to doing qigong. Right? Oh, thank you. Yeah, the t-shirt. Yeah, I designed this. It's actually on the website, themindofmatter.com. Live dangerously. So that's the Mind of Matter logo. Mind, body, eternal soul at the top. When you leave your mind and body behind, not the mind, not the body, you ascend to the eternal soul. And then you become the all-seeing eye. That's what this logo means. Right? Everyone reads it differently, I suppose. So, next mantra, Gayatri Mantra, I just spoke about. But there's a wicked audio that I love listening to. And you'll probably love it too. It's a Gayatri Mantra by Julia Eleanor. This is a brilliant version. So, remember the mantra, Om Bhurvus Vaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Demahi Deo Yono Prochodayat. Now, we've got to say it, okay, to really embody it and to replace the thoughts. Okay, that's the point of a mantra. You've got to say it. You've got to engage the throat chakra to replace the internal dialogue. So you can say it out loud or you can say it internally. Doesn't matter. It will work. Now, I also like to listen to the mantras. So as I've just done the Mool Mantra before, an audio. It's not the same thing because listening to a mantra is not really repeating a mantra. So it's not going to engage the throat chakra. It's not going to have the same impact, but it will still have an impact. So I use a combination of both. So I listen to Waheguru Simran and I repeat Waheguru Simran. I listen to the Gayatri Mantra and I repeat the Gayatri Mantra. Right? I listen to Om Mani Padme Hum and I repeat it myself. Okay? I listen to Om Namah Shivaya and I repeat it myself. Okay, so Gayatri Mantra is the one here. This one's by Julia Eleanor. It's very, very powerful. So listen to this. Now, generally, I always like to do a bit of qigong, so I like to move my hands to music, but you don't have to. It just happens naturally for me. when I listen to it, I like to sing along with it, right? So then it becomes a mantra. Thank you very much, YOLO. One of the best lives I've attended. Thank you. It means a lot. Now this one's got a very, very powerful beat. So there's lots of different versions of it, but I love this one by Julia Eleanor. Much love, much love. Powerful, right? So that's an audio version of it, but when you listen to it, you know it, sing along with it. Like, it doesn't take a lot. I mean, for me, it didn't take a lot. I'm not born into Hinduism, I'm born into Sikhism. So I was taught the Mool Mantra when I was 6 years old, so I know that it's subconscious, right? But I learned the Gayatri Mantra because it's not a language that is native to me, but I learnt it and I practiced it and I know it off my head now. Okay, Om Bhurvusvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Demahi Deo Yona Prachodayat. That's very, very easy to memorize, so it's not that difficult. So it's a good one. It's a good one. Very, very powerful. I explained what it means. So if you understand the meaning and do it, very, very powerful. Now the other one is Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, Om Namah Shivaya. Everyone knows Om, as I said, the primordial sound, Om. Okay, the sound, the beginning. Okay, that was the beginning. Okay, in the beginning there was a word. So Om Namah Shivaya means I bow down to Shiva, or I bow down to the Creator. Okay. Now I used to practice this a lot. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 I've often spoke about in my lives where around 2015, when I had a major Kundalini awakening, when I was doing a lot of the Qigong, commotion Qigong. I've been doing Qigong for over 15 years, but when I created my own Qigong, commotion Qigong, when I started to do Qigong to music, because Qigong typically isn't done to music. So commotion Qigong is Qigong to music, but I've studied Tai Chi, Wing Chun Kung Fu, karate, boxing, there's lots of different martial arts. So what I did again is remix that shit. So I put it all together. So my commotion Qigong is not just Qigong, it's actually Tai Chi, Wing Chun Kung Fu, and Qigong. So it's to music. So that's why I do it to all different kinds of music. So you'll even see me do it to drum and bass. But initially I started to slow music. So even this, just doing this is a form of Qigong. So as long as you're moving your hands, because there's a positive negative charge. We're electrical beings, positive negative charge. When you do this, you're charging yourself up. Okay, when you feel the energy between your hands, that's when you feel energy. That's Qi. Okay, you can feel and move energy in your hands. And if everything is energy and you can manipulate energy with your hands, you're in a good place. Right? So I started Wing Chun when I was 14 years old. I became an instructor when I was 19. So I sometimes do some videos where I'm doing center line punching, Wing Chun Kung Fu. So Wing Chun Kung Fu is it's very much about the center line. So it's all about symmetry. Center line, the punching is all center line. The attacks all center line like this. It's all about symmetry. Qigong is all about flow and movement. Okay, but Wing Chun is very much about flow and movement, because a lot of the practiced techniques we would practice like rolling arms, so that we build the ability to feel other people's arms and the motion. Okay, so we do this thing called Qigong, where we Qi Sao and rolling arms, where we feel the energy of the opponent and we push and pull against each other, so we can get into the rhythm and flow of feeling and moving with energy. So Wing Chun is all about feeling energy. So I started all this stuff very, very young in my life. I'm 44 years old now. So it all adds up, okay, to where I am now. So nothing happens by accident. Everything in your life is meant to happen, and you are exactly where you're meant to be. Always remember that. Enlightenment taught me a lot. Even stuff that I didn't like that happened in my life, it taught me why it had to happen. So a lot of the things like my dad dying, my brother passing away 3 years ago, it was all stuff that had to happen. And it's all a part of the journey. So enlightenment, the wondrous enlightener, will teach you. You don't need external sources. When you get out of the way and you stop tuning into those shit radio stations, okay, connect with the divine, and you start flowing with the Tao, the universal flow, the way, start riding the waves. Everything starts to come together. I often say you don't need to find yourself. You need to, in a sense, forget yourself. You are already there. You haven't gone anywhere. You've always been there. Your higher self is you fucking born with it. It's life that takes you. You are your higher self as soon as you come out your womb, right? Your mother's womb. That is you. You are your higher self now. Your higher self hasn't gone anywhere. It's what keeps you alive at night. It's what keeps your blood pumping through your veins. It's keeping your heart pumping. It's keeping you breathing when you're not even thinking about it. So it's nowhere that you need to go to find it. It's right there. It's just reconnecting with it. But when you keep allowing those unconscious thought habits to take over, when they keep taking over and you keep focusing on them, and it's very difficult because if that's what you keep hearing, that's what you keep listening to. Right? But what I'm trying to say with the whole stuff that I do here is that you don't have to keep listening to the shit radio station. Okay, there's a lot you can do to regain control. So the conscious breath work is regaining control of something that is normally unconscious. So as you regain control of something that's normally unconscious, you're practicing regaining control of your unconscious mind. It's that simple. So when movement, like I'm moving unconsciously now. So when I do Qigong, I practice controlling consciously and feeling consciously movement and energy and flow. So as I'm consciously practicing being in flow with energy, movement, Qi, and I'm also practicing breath work, I'm always regaining control with these practices of my unconscious mind. Because that's what's gone out of control, not your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is very limited. It only processes 128 to 300 bits of information per second. Your unconscious mind is the one that's running the show. It's processing 4.3 to 20 million bits of information per second. You can't consciously control that. So what you do is what you can control is where your consciousness is going, where your attention is going, because that's where your energy is flowing. That's what you can control. And when you keep regaining control of that and bringing it back into alignment with the way it should be flowing, you start hearing the good songs on the radio station, the good thoughts, the positive thoughts. They're naturally just flowing. Okay, so first of all, so these mantras have vibrational frequencies, right? In ancient times, we didn't have binaural technology, isochronic technology, brainwave entrainment technology. So they had mantras, and these mantras have specific, powerful frequency. That's why there, YOLO, you got that spiritual shiver, right, from the Gayatri Mantra, because it's a frequency. It's a higher frequency. It's a level of intelligence within that mantra that you're connecting with. It's a higher level of intelligence. So when you listen to it and you say it, you'll feel your whole body vibrating on a different level. You're shifting your level of vibration just by saying any one of these mantras. Even I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. That has a massive impact on you, because to recognize, like, if your problem is what you're hearing in your thoughts, when you keep saying I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, you're disassociating from that mind and the body which is experiencing those issues. So when you keep saying I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, you're disassociating. When you're fully associated all the time, you get caught up with the nonsense. So this is a form of disassociation from the illusion and the illusionary aspects of the self. Right? So, Om Namah Shivaya, that was the other one. Okay, that is I bow down to Shiva. There's a good one here on YouTube as well for that. It's on YouTube, but it's going to probably play an advert. So let's get rid of the fucking adverts first. But there's a lot of Om Namah Shivaya ones. Om Namah Shivaya. Now, I practice Om Namah Shivaya. As I was saying, back in 2015, I had a really profound experience with the blue light. So, they refer to the pineal gland. Okay, I've done a video on this yesterday. I just posted it up, a video from a Gaia documentary, The Sound of Creation. A public speaker. I have been a public speaker, funny enough, for like 15 years. I've been teaching traders. I've been therapist, coaching. I've been coaching for over 15, since 2005. So yeah, I've done presentations and stuff. Today I'm sitting down. Normally I'm standing up and I'm high energy. Today I'm doing a relaxed session. So this is my relaxed session. So normally I'm standing up and doing a presentation, talking like I'm on a stage. So, because that's what I'm used to. I've traveled all around the world doing speeches and talks, mainly to stock market traders, but my main thing was neuro-linguistic programming, peak performance coaching for stock market traders. That's been my thing for 15 years. But I tend to not focus too much on, I'm still in that industry, but I just don't really talk about it too much on this page. I try to get away from that because that's like work. Excellent. Yeah, I trade futures markets myself. The link is in the bio, actually, thetradingframework.com. That's what I'm known for. Obviously on this page it's all new, but in that industry, the financial industry, auction market theory. So this is Om Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya.
Spiritual shivers to this one too.
Namah Shivaya.
Okay, so that's another very powerful one. Now, I had a very profound experience to that one because I was the Gayatri Mantra and this, as I said, about 2015 when I had that real profound Kundalini awakening experience. This is when I've often spoke about where I wasn't born into Hinduism. As I said, I was born into Sikhism. That's like why I talked about Waheguru and etc. earlier. But interestingly, I practice Om Namah Shivaya and the Gayatri Mantra. I had this really profound experience with this blue light, not white light, blue light. And I did a post of this the other day. And it's been said many times when those piezoelectric crystals on your pineal gland get activated, you'll often experience blue light, a profound blue light. Now I used to see this blue light ascending to me when I repeated this mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. right? And the Gayatri Mantra. So the Gayatri Mantra is more for protection, and the Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, is more for devotion to the divine. Okay? So for me, that's when I really started to experience some really profound stuff with the cosmic realms and the celestial realms. Okay, so for me, Shiva shows himself as a celestial god, if you like. Okay, a celestial entity, very powerful celestial entity. Okay, and to me, it appeared as a very profound blue light with hints of purple. Okay, that's a personal experience, but I thought I'd just add to it because I've done a little post the other day about when the pineal gland gets activated, you'll often experience a blue, profound blue light. Okay, it's the only way I can explain it. And again, everyone is different, so do not think that is what you need to see. I'm just sharing stories, as always. I'm just sharing what I've experienced. Okay, and everyone's mind is very different. Everyone is very, very unique and different. We all have very different ways of looking. We all have different voices. We all have different thoughts. We all have different personalities. So therefore, your experiences, even in terms of what you have spiritually, more than likely will be different because you will experience stuff the way you're supposed to experience it. So please do not, whenever I talk about stuff, when I talk about details, do not get hooked up on the details. I always need to make sure I clarify that. Do not get hooked up on the details. Okay? You might see yellow. Okay? You might see white. Whatever it is. I'm just sharing what happened to me. Okay? But it happened when I was doing this mantra daily on a consistent basis. Okay? And it's because I'm not born into Hinduism. But what happened, there's a Facebook page with around 103,000 followers. It's the Cambo, the Mind of Matter page. The link is in the bio. I started that back then. I had all these downloads that were coming to me back then about ancient wisdom related to Hinduism, and I'm not born into Hinduism, so I don't know where the knowledge and the wisdom was coming from. I was just writing it down. I was sharing it on my page back then. Okay, so it's the source of enlightenment. As I say, when you connect to the divine, as I said, Waheguru, the wondrous enlightener. Okay, the divine is a source of enlightenment. Okay, it's not just a source of creation. It's the source of creation and destruction, but it's also the source of wisdom, the truth. It's the source of truth. Like, you don't have to go out there. Okay, now what will happen when you keep going within and keep letting go, you're going to be directed to external sources. That's what happens to me. I'll get inspiration, or you'll get guided, like a book will keep showing up and you think, okay, it's like there's no coincidences, firstly. So if something keeps showing up, you probably should pay attention. So that's where I look at it. So, but you become more aware of what you need to pay attention to. So you start focusing on the right things. So what I tend to do is I tend to go within, let go. If I need to refer to an external source, a book or a documentary or something, the divine will guide me to it. That's the way it works for me. Like even these lives, people ask me, when do you do them? I don't know. The divine tells me on the day, or sometimes the day before. Tomorrow you're going to do a live. Yeah, I don't know where it comes from. I really don't. I don't make a plan. I don't plan anything. It just happens. Okay, that's being in the flow. Like I don't know what I'm going to say when I turn up here. It just comes out. It just happens. So it's just like it's all happening. But you just got to get out the fucking way. Right? When you start getting out the way, it all starts flowing. So that's how, like, you can just be in the flow, be in the zone. That's what being in the zone, being in the flow state is. Being in flow with the universal flow. Being in alignment with that flow. The natural flow of the universe. Nature. Like the flower, it's there and it just blossoms. Okay? The flower will blossom itself. You are a flower. We are all flowers. We just will naturally blossom. Like the petals of the lotus flower One by one, spring open. Pop, 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 pop. We just got to keep getting out the way. We just got to keep getting out the way. Stop getting in your own way. As long as we keep getting out the way, we're okay. Right? No problem. It's been Rachel Parker Driver, no problem. Good to have you here. Thank you very much for joining in. Frequency Bliss, thank you very much for joining us. So I've been going for quite a while, probably over an hour actually now. So I've done quite a lot on the mantra, so it will be recorded and it will go on the page as usual. So I've talked about mantras, I've talked about Waheguru, the Mool Mantra, I've talked about Gayatri Mantra, the Om Namah Shivaya mantra. Now I'm going to talk about Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum is the Buddhist mantra, the very famous Buddhist mantra, made famous by Buddha, of course. Now I connect a lot with Buddha consciousness. I connect with consciousness, right? So Christ consciousness, Shiva consciousness, Waheguru consciousness, and Buddha consciousness. So I refer to them as consciousness, okay? And to me, they're in the 10th, these levels of consciousness are in the 10th chakra, okay? The 7 chakras are in the body, root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, crown chakra. And then we've got the 8th chakra, okay, which is your first connection to God, what I call it, or the divine. Okay, so it's out of the body. 9th chakra, Akashic records, wisdom and knowledge of all that is. 10th chakra, God consciousness realms. This is where I connected Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness, Waheguru consciousness. Those are the ones I'm connected to. Okay, as I said, everyone is different, so it's not the same for everyone. 11th realm or chakra, for me, is nirvana, the realm of pure bliss, pure joy. Not like a physical joy. I mean joy, bliss as in transcended illusion joy. None of the bullshit fucking exists anymore. No suffering exists. Okay, the illusion is gone. 12th is heaven. The gates of heaven, the feet of God, whatever you want to call it. It's a resting place. Peace, serenity, bliss, eternal peace. 13th chakra realm, cosmic realm. 14th chakra, the celestial realms. Now, that's as far as I've been. I don't know if there is anything beyond that. Maybe there is. I'm still growing. So I haven't stopped. So I'm still on the journey, right? So I'm sure I will discover more. But interestingly, Om Mani Padme Hum means praise the jewel in the lotus. Now the lotus is often referred to as the crown chakra. So the lotus, out of all the chakras, the lotus, the 1,000-petaled lotus, is the crown chakra. That is what opens, and you connect to the 8th chakra, the 9th chakra and the 10th chakra, etc. that I spoke about. That's when you go into enlightenment. That's what happened to me last year. Now I've been working at this stuff a long time, but it was only when I started to forget what the fuck I've learned and what I thought I knew, and I said, fucking still don't know, God. Tell me what the fuck is going on, God. I still don't get it. When I said, look, I still don't understand, I'm never going to get it, you teach me, then God come and got me and showed me the rest. Because that's why I keep saying you've got to get out of the fucking way. Because when I was in the way, I never got it. When I finally got out of the way, like 25, 30 years later, it all connected. Because we don't connect the dots. The divine connects the dots. That's why it's the divine enlightener. That's why it's the wondrous enlightener. It's the job of God, the divine, to show you how everything connects. You don't need to do it. You can't do it. Your conscious mind can't do it. It's incomprehensible from a limited conscious mind perspective. So as far as I'm concerned, it's impossible from what I've seen, unless you get out of the way. So, praise the jewel in the lotus. Now I've said the pineal gland has piezoelectric crystals on it. Piezoelectric crystals. And when these crystals are activated, the magnetite in all your brain gets activated, and it awakens you to your higher consciousness. That's how the 1,000-petaled lotus flower opens. It blossoms. Okay, but the Sushumna channel here, the central channel, I've done a lot of posts on my page about this, needs to be clear. The energy has to be flowing from your root up to your 7th chakra, and it needs to be coming out. It needs to be coming out, flowing out. The energy needs to be flowing out. That's why my breath work, if you haven't done the breath work course, it's on themindofmatter.com. It's completely free, the Camo Breathwork course. I explain about the 7 chakras and how to clear them with the Camo Breathwork framework. It doesn't take long as you do it. It only takes 3 or 4 minutes, but you just got to do it every day. Now, I do it more than once a day because it's quite addictive, because it makes you feel fucking awesome. So, what I tend to do is I cleanse my chakras with that, but I'll cleanse my etheric, my auric egg with the Qigong, moving meditation, and many other benefits to that, of course, which I've already spoke about, such as getting in flow with the Tao, the natural way of the universe. Okay, get back in flow with the rhythm of nature. Because there is a rhythm, you're either in flow with it or you're not. So you need to stop swimming upstream so everything seems like a struggle and start riding the waves. Because the waves are there. God is providing the ocean and the waves. We just got to ride them. But if you're not open to seeing them and recognizing when they're there, like this is a wave for me. Okay, don't know when the next live is going to be until the divine says, this is what you're going to talk about. This is what you're going to do. It's inspiration, intuition. Why is it called inspiration? In spirit. You're in spirit. In spirit. Look at the words. Intuition. Well, who are you being taught by? If you're intuition. Your intuition. You're being taught by fucking God. Look at the words. It's all there if you have the eyes to see. Right? So they're piezoelectric, I don't even know how to fucking say it. It doesn't matter. Okay? I'm not a scientist. Okay? I'm a practitioner. But the basically the crystals, when they get activated, that 1,000-petaled lotus, right, will open up. So as I said, we're flowers. We're just blossoming. So just like any other flower, it will grow. As long as you keep watering it. That's it. You only need to water the flower. I done a post the other day about the bamboo tree, the Chinese bamboo tree. It's a really profound analogy because the Chinese bamboo tree, the farmer will plant the seed and will water it, and for 4 years, nothing will happen. Everything that's happening is under the soil, under the surface. It is happening, but you can't see anything. On the 5th year, in 6 weeks, it grows 90 fucking feet. That's life. For 5 years, you can spend watering your seeds, working on your higher consciousness, and you don't see anything. And then the 5th year, as long as you stay consistent and persistent, 90 fucking feet in 6 weeks. Right? Chinese bamboo tree analogy. So, Om Mani Padme Hum, the last mantra I'm going to talk about today, praise the jewel in the lotus. The jewel is the pineal gland. Funny enough, it's got crystals on it. What is a jewel? Crystals are jewels. Pineal gland has crystals on it. Where is the pineal gland? Here. Where's the crown? Here. So, praise the jewel in the lotus. It's fucking right here. Om Mani Padme Hum. Right? So, Om Mani Padme Hum, there's more of a deeper meaning to it, which I'm going to read out to you. The Dalai Lama said the meaning is great and vast, okay, because all of Buddha's teachings are wrapped up in that one phrase. All of Buddha's teachings are wrapped up in that one phrase. Dalai Lama said that. Now, if you break it down, Om is the vibration or sound of the universe, represents divine energy and generosity and purifies the ego. Ma represents ethics, purifies jealousy. Ni represents patience and purifies want or desire. Pad represents diligence and purifies ignorance and judgment. Mi represents concentration and purifies attachment. Hum, the unity of all, represents wisdom and purifies hatred. So that's the full, that's from yogiapproved.com. You'll notice I'm reading, I know the mantras in the original form, okay? But when I'm reading the translations, to make sure I'm giving you the translation, I'm reading them out, okay? So Om Mani Padme Hum, okay? The basic, as a whole, it's praise the jewel in the lotus, right? As I said, the jewel is the pineal gland, because that's what activates the opening of the 1,000-petaled lotus. So Om Mani Padme Hum, again, can be said as a mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. It's often sang, right, by Buddhist monks. Okay? So again, as I've done with the other mantras earlier today, you can listen to it. Okay? There's lots of, you go to Spotify or YouTube, type in Om Mani Padme Hum. Listen to it and then sing along with it. Because what you're doing, as I said, whenever you take on a mantra, as long as you activate your throat chakra, it will replace your internal dialogue. Whether you're saying it out loud or whether you're saying it internally. So out of all these mantras that I've said, I can use any one. If I'm out and about, going about in my day, or I'm even at home and I'm having thoughts I don't like, it's just the radio station I've tuned into that I don't fucking like the song. Okay, that's all it is. And I need to take control and change the radio station. But what most people do, they start hearing the shit song and they keep listening to it. And they think, why is this fucking song so shit? Because you keep listening to it. You can change the radio station. You are in control of the knobs, man. You're in control of the dials. You've just lost control. That's all. This is all about just remembering how to regain control. Because remember, at school, they don't teach you how to think. They teach you what to think. And actually, in whole of fucking life, what you're taught is what to think, not how to think. This is why when I got into stock market trading and I learned that my problems were of me, I didn't know how to handle my fear, I didn't know how to handle my doubts, I didn't know how to handle my emotions, I didn't know how to control my negative thoughts. This is why I became certified in neuro-linguistic programming in 2005. And I thought, this is fucking awesome. I became a master practitioner in 2006. Then I did timeline therapy and became certified in that. Right? I've done videos on and lives on timeline therapy, which is another profound technique. But you put this all together, you got a lot of fucking tools to take control of your mind and your life. The only time in my life I lost control is when I stopped doing the practice. When I thought I had it all and I made it and I didn't need to do it anymore because the ego came back. So I had to learn another lesson in my life because I did a lot of work on myself, became very successful, bought a house, got married, got kids. But I was working on, I've been meditating since I was 14 years old. I learned meditation when I was doing Wing Chun Kung Fu. But what happened is when I became successful, I became lazy. I stopped doing everything that got me there. So life taught me, God taught me. God teaches you the best lessons. Wake the fuck up, right? God teaches you the best lessons. And it's often because you need to know, you need to learn. And a lot of the time it seems like suffering. But how do we grow? We always grow through pain and suffering. That's just a reality. That lesson was learnt the day you was born. Because how did you come into this life? Through your mother's pain and suffering. So pain and suffering always leads to birth. So if you're ever going through pain and suffering, remember it's your opportunity to grow. That's all it is. All right. Much love, everyone. That was about an hour 45 minutes. So I think I'm going to close it off there today. Thank you very much for joining in, everyone. So a lot to take in. As I said, it doesn't all have to resonate, but take what fits. What doesn't, leave it behind. But there must be something there. One of those mantras, at least one. Now I use a combination of all of them. Okay? But the most powerful one I typically use, the most natural one, is Waheguru, because I learned it as I was a kid. Okay? Now, Gayatri Mantra, it's great for protection. Okay? Protection and just rebalancing. For devotion, I would practice Om Namah Shivaya. Om Mani Padme Hum, I don't personally do that one too much, but I do it. It's just whenever I feel like it, really. But I just put it out there. It's not one that I typically go to myself, because I think you don't need a lot. It's just like you don't need a lot to figure it out. You don't really need a lot of mantras either. Like, the most important thing is you get one and you do it. So that's why I said, even if it's I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. Whenever you feel like you're not in control, just say that to yourself. Okay? First thing in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. Anytime your mind starts to play that shit song that you don't like listening to, okay, the shit thoughts. Because that's all it is. Your just thoughts are just sounds. That's why you hear your thoughts. You hear your thoughts because they're sound frequencies. Everything is sound frequencies. And sound frequencies create vibrations. Right? But remember, like the didgeridoo, that one note becomes many. So if that one note isn't controlled, then it can become many bad thoughts. So one bad thought can turn into many bad thoughts. But one good thought can turn into many good thoughts. It's the same thing, like the didgeridoo. It's one note turns into many. It's one sound that turns into many. Right? That's it. So whatever sound, whenever you hear something you do not like, change the fucking channel. Just remember, this is all frequencies and you're just tuning into radio stations. That's it. So whenever it starts playing something you don't like, recognize it, witness and observe. Say, I don't like that. Turn it off. But you, rather than try to just turn it off and listen to nothing, it's better to change the channel and listen to something else. Because more than likely that channel will just switch back on again. That's why silence is very difficult. Sitting in silence, meditation, is for the yogis and the monks that live in the fucking mountains. It doesn't work that well in this world, in this day and age. We don't live in the jungle. We don't live in the mountains. We got too much nonsense going on out here. Too many distractions. This is why Osso was a big proponent of dynamic meditation. Dynamic meditation, like walking in nature, is a meditation. Look, sit in my garden and watch the clouds. That's meditation. That's a dynamic meditation. Think of meditation as doing something. Like witnessing, observing, listening, watching, but non-judgmentally. Non-judgmentally. That's all it is. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. Much love. Hope we've given you some good nuggets of wisdom today. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful day. Enjoy. the rest of your evening, your day, the rest of your week. Much love, and I'll see you on the next live. Whenever that is.